Hope everyone's having a great day. Today is a Friday, and I get to start on this CP4 filled truck. This is a 2015 LML. So as you can see, we got the glitter and this fuel system. The good news is this customer is opting to go with the CP3 conversion, which is really nice. We're doing the CP3 conversion by S&S Diesel. So it'll actually be my first CP3 conversion on one of these trucks, so we'll see how that goes. And it is, for the EPA that's watching, if you do, it is CARB compliant and no tuning required. Because we're in the state of California, so everything has to be legit, and it is. So don't even worry about that. But I'm gonna go ahead and do a time lapse, and when I get to the important parts, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna try to rip this apart, hopefully get it mostly apart today. And I would like to try to get that injection pump in today, the CP3. But we'll see what happens, and let's get it done. I figured before I should show you the metal, so here, let's pull that rag out. Been covered up for about 3 weeks, but it's gonna be really hard to see, but I will try my best. I don't know if I can get in there very well. Hopefully you can see that metal deep down in there. And for the people saying that sucks for the Duramax, well, actually I have a Ford right there that needs one. And then I have another Ford in the back. That one is a 2015. Yeah, it's a 15 because it has a new style turbo. And then I have a 2020, I think, in the back with 70 or 60,000 miles on it. And the dealer said they will not warrant it because the guy was driving around with no fuel cap because it doesn't have a bed on it, which is really stupid, but it is what it is. Not my problem. But if you could, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you, and let's get started on this sucker. So as you can see right now, got the AC compressor off, taking the hose off, the air block. I'm pulling the bracket off down below to get to the charge tube so we can take that charge tube off. Be careful with those AC compressor lines because if you fold them around too much, they can crack. Just got the throttle body off, removing all that stuff. Now the one thing I will say that the turbo inlet is a pain in the butt to get to. You just loosen the clamp up all the way, slide it up and out. That's the only way to get to it. You know, see right there, I just took that EGR bypass pipe out. The two back bolts on the passenger side, those bolts are non-metallic. So if you drop them, you're gonna have a very hard time getting them back. So be very careful with them. Then got the alternator out. I'm starting to take the EGR cooler stack out. Those 4 bolts that I just took out on the left hand side, that elbow that goes to the cooler that goes to the back, those again are the same exact bolts that hold that thing in. The EGR bypass pipe, those are non-metallic bolts. This is a trick that I recently started doing. Instead of taking the whole thing apart, I just take those 4 12s off. I use a swivel 12 on the bottom, comes right out. Pull the alternator, piece of cake. And now I'm starting to rip the stuff off the passenger side valve cover to get to the injectors. I think I'm doing the fuel filter housing right now, and I pull the glow plug control module off and get all that stuff out of the way, the heater hoses. Overall, this is a pretty simple job. The hard part becomes when you get to the CP3, but getting all the injectors unplugged. The quick connects for the return lines, you just pull up on the heads of them and it pops right out. Very, very simple. And again, everything's getting replaced, so it really doesn't matter if I break them. Right now, I'm doing the 9th injector. 9th injector to release it is kind of a pain in the butt. I do have a video on it. I'm trying not to go into too much detail on this video with specifically the little kind of stuff that I have good videos on. There's a clip in there that I just break apart, the white clip inside. I really don't know how to get it off. I just break it apart, comes out, and it's getting replaced anyway, so it doesn't matter. And now I'm pulling the fuel lines, I'm doing the fuel rail. Fuel rail was actually really easy to do on this side. The back bolt is kind of a pain in the butt to get to. I had to go get a long extension and go through the side of it to actually get it out on the back near the turbocharger. You can see that's going back in pretty well, and then I'm going to start doing the injectors. I don't think I've done them yet. You can see the extension over there, that's for that back fuel rail bolt. And then it's out of view, but that is the injectors that I'm doing next. So what I do is I use one of the old fuel lines and to twist it to loosen it up and pull the injector out instead of using like a puller tool. These ones are not that bad in there, so they usually come out pretty easily, thankfully. And just make sure before you take them out, you blow them out, spray them with brake clean. You check in there, make sure the coppers aren't in there, make sure they're nice and clean. So when you go put the new injectors in, it doesn't cause any more damage. So the O-rings can seal so nothing gets down below. Grease them up really good and you'll be good. So I've got the replacement injectors in. These are brand new Bosches. And I just want to say, you're going to see me bending stuff. Like I bent this line over here. I bent this back here. This is getting replaced. I have a brand new one. I just got to pull the fender liner so I can access it. And this is the 9th injector, indirect injector. This is getting replaced. Obviously we have a brand new fuel rail. I started the easy way first. It's a lot easier to do it this way. Just start at the passenger side, change the rail, we'll put the injectors in, we'll get the lines on. And then the next thing I'm going to move on is to the injection pump, and then I'll start pulling that set apart at the same time. But so far it's going pretty good. About 2.5 hours in, and already putting at least half the injectors in. So we're gonna go ahead and snug these up, and then we'll torque them. And they're all greased up good. The bores are clean, the old coppers are out. The one thing you need to make sure of too when you're doing this, take a picture of the injector codes, because you're gonna have to program them in the computer and the glow plug control module. These are pretty brand new Bosches. The customer wanted brand new ones, so luckily they came in stock after we got the authorization, so we were able to get them. Nothing wrong with reman, it's just, you know, there weren't that much more for brand new injectors. And then I have my special new, bought a brand new torque wrench set, so I don't have my red ones anymore. This is that one with the foam. If you know Snap-on, you got the foam with the 3/8 and the 1/2 inch. Oh, the gears are so nice. Oh, did it skip? Just double check. These get torqued to 22. I'm doing 23 because I have a little extension, so. Got 20. The teeth are so much smoother on this than my old one. Wow. You can't even hear them. That's nuts. And then next I'm going to grab the lines. I don't want to scratch. Get the lines, we'll pop those new lines on. This thing's kind of, okay, it's all torqued it. So I'm gonna grab the lines, we'll put the hard lines on, and then I might stop there and move on to the rest of it. So now you can see I'm putting the lines back on, getting the injectors all buttoned up and ready to go on this side. And I've just got done taking pictures of the injectors on this side. The lines, they come individualized without the brackets, so you have to take them apart and then rebuild them on the truck, but everything went good on this side. Everything's got nice and tight. Now you can see just buttoning everything up over here, putting the glow plug control module back on. Now I'm starting with the thermostat housing. I don't think you have to take the top of it off. I did because we are doing thermostats as well, so I figured might as well just get that out of the way. Next, pulling the intake off, or the Y bridge. Just a bunch of 10s, kind of a pain in the butt, but this is where it gets really interesting, is working in the valley next to the pump. It gets very, very tight. So to do this job properly, or I shouldn't say properly, but for the repair manual, you're supposed to pull the transmission, pull the turbo, because there's a fuel line that runs down there that goes underneath the turbo. That's a pain in the butt to get to, but you don't need to. But right now what I'm doing is I'm pulling the bolts out for the high pressure fuel pump. And the nice thing is we're going in with a CP3. It does not need to be timed. You can just pop it in, get it going, and she's good to go. Right now I've got the pump loosened up. I'm pulling the line off the back, just trying to get everything off the pump so I can try popping the pump out. Now I did something stupid here. This pump, I was prying on it for quite a little bit, and I didn't realize that I pulled the wrong bolt out. that holds it in. There's 4 bolts that hold it in. Again, I have another video of me replacing an injection pump, but I finally figured out that I didn't get one of the bolts out on the driver's side because I wasn't paying attention. I was in a rush. So once I got that bolt out, the pump came out like butter. So do pay attention when you do that. Don't be stupid like me. But not too bad. 4 bolts on the front. You got to undo the coolant line, take the bypass pipe out, and then you just probably get the bolt out. Comes out like butter. Now what I have to do next is I'm inside. You actually have to take the gear off of this pump and put it onto the CP3 kit. The CP3 kit we are using, since everything's got to be legal through the business, this is SNS carb compliant, or I believe it doesn't require a carb number. I'm not sure, but it is legal in California, or for emissions. So that's the way we have to go. So you had to swap the gear on, torque the gear to somewhere around 50 foot-pounds, I'm not sure. Got that all on. Now I'm sucking I pop the pump in, you kind of walk it in, pop it in, good to go. Getting everything done on the front. And again, I do have a video on that, because you do have to take the fan clutch off, you have to take the fan hub off, because you have to take the black bypass pipe out. So just be aware of that. Now I'm starting on the fuel on the driver's side. And I'm looking at instructions for some reason. Oh, because on the instructions it shows to put that heater, or the temperature sensor where the AC compressor bolts down. I didn't understand that, so I just left it right there. That's the only place that it's going to fit for me. I don't know why the instructions, to be honest, were kind of poorly illustrated, but that's just how it is. I was able to work my way around it. Hope everyone's having a great day. It's honestly been almost a week since I've worked on this last. I stopped on last Friday. Today is Thursday, right actually towards the end of the day. I've been extremely busy, but the only thing I've done since the last video is I just got done installing the brand new 9th injector. All it is obviously the 213s I took off here. There's a 10 there. Let me show you the other stuff down below. So down here we have another 10 right there that holds that blue thing on. And then we have that 22. It's like a nut that holds that piece in back there. Got all that stuff in. I plugged the injector back in, and I bent that bracket back down, because when you take this out, I usually bend these up. So I bend that back down, get this all nice and tight, everything's plugged in. The next step I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hook up the fuel return lines and then put the fuel filter over here and try to get some of this stuff back in place before I continue on the other side. I'm going to, let me get in position. A little bit chaotic today, but we'll get her done. I'm gonna spray a little bit of WD-40 in these fittings. Okay, got some racing motorcycles out there. And then we still have a couple things I have to flush. Obviously, I still have to do the driver's side. I'm trying to get some of my parts and bolts put back into place so I don't lose track, because this is a lot to remember. Like, we have, I still have the original one right here. We're going to just stick this right here for now and run it over. It's gonna go like, hopefully so. I don't know why I just don't do it like this. Make my life a little bit easier. Okay. This is a little tight down here. I'll plug this one in. This one's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't want to see that O-ring's kind of getting pinched, so we're going to do the back. Start back here first. Work our way around. There's that one. Just keep the dirt out of here. Everything was covered up over the almost week. Thankfully the customer's not in that much of a rush. But let's get this. Boy, this is tight right here. I might have to grab a wrench to take. Okay, now I got it. I would recommend loosening this.
You're all scared, you know? think this one. Oh, this thing goes way back there. Oh, what I'm doing, putting it right here. Where is my brain? No, that's where it goes, right here. Yeah. So this needs to be unplugged. This is how you get ahead of yourself real fast. This is why I'm trying to get some of these parts put back on, so my memory, because I'm gonna have just a slight difficulty remembering putting back where some of the stuff goes. But I have enough experience with this to hopefully get it just like that. I don't like that connector. I guess it goes around it. It's interesting. And then we have, where does this go? I think this goes down here, no? Yeah, see, this is what happens. So that for sure. Oh, this harness goes, no. This harness does, oh, okay, this harness comes up. This harness goes right here, I believe. This stuff's just everywhere. Yeah, this harness goes like this. So this goes. Interesting. Goes like that. We have these two. Where's my weather pack? Well, that's nice. I meant to find a weather pack for this. Okay, that goes like that. Oh, okay, yeah, it goes like this. This is correct. Okay. And those aren't the right bolts. Oh no, that goes on top of that. There's that. Let's see. There's. Okay, these are up there, and I have those. And this one's gonna go right here. Let me grab the other bracket for that. Okay. So this comes out of here. This one goes right here. So for the time being, I'm gonna stick this one in here. Just to have a reference point, so when I tighten it, it doesn't get misaligned. We're gonna tighten up these 13 down there. That one. That one. Okay. Now, the AC compressor. Now we do have this coolant pipe that needs to go back in place. This one right here. So this is gonna go in after the fuel filter housing. So let's get this out of the way. And now let's put the fuel filter housing in. And this fuel filter has been replaced. I flushed the fuel filter housing out. Brand new AC local fuel filter. It's all fresh and clean. So I'm gonna have to block these lines up tonight so that nothing gets in them. Okay, I'm gonna take this bracket off now that it's tight. It's got a good alignment because these bolts that come right out. This bracket's just really in the way. Okay. So we're gonna use the 13 swivel, tighten these little suckers up. Okay, we need an extension. Luckily I come prepared. Sometimes. Okay, there's that. Okay, that is done. Now we need to put this coolant line back in place. This heater hose, or heater pipe. Then we have to plug the fuel filter in, the water and fuel sensor. Okay, that's plugged in. These all go up here. We have this that goes to the 9th injector. This goes to this EGR valve. And we have this over here that needs to go in. It actually sits in the 9th injector, this little plastic piece. I'm gonna put this line down there, just like that. Okay. And then now we have this. Okay. There's that. And I'm gonna wrap these fuel lines up in a rag, prevent contamination. And now we need our 13 nut, our 13 bolt. One nut, then, oof. There's our 13 bolt. Tighten this. Okay. Now we gotta tighten the other side of the pipe, which is, it's hard to see. It's probably easier to close your eyes and imagine. Realistically, it's right here. The nut's right here to hold the pipe in. I still put that clamp back on. We're gonna go ahead and start plugging some stuff back in. We'll plug this glow plug control module back in so I don't get no crap in it. And I started it in the open position, I believe. That was the right way. Just gonna walk it on until it hits the lock. That one's good. There is a power wire down here somewhere for this. Oh, it's right here. So we're gonna plug this back in. There's that. Plug back in. So next what we need to do is I need to go grab a pair of pliers so I can start to put this side completely. I want to put the clamps back on so I don't forget. And yeah, there's that. And we have this one right here. And again, these two are going to go up top. So leave those like that. I'll be back for some pliers. Okie dokie, got the pliers. So let's start with this one. I think there's 3. It's funny is I've had these pliers for a while and I rarely use them, but they're very nice because they like multiply the torque so you don't have to push that hard on them. We got those, and I'm gonna do this lower heater hose. Okay. So I think we're pretty much done with this side. I still need to flush the low side lines out. I'm waiting till I get pretty much everything put back together before I do that. I'm gonna cover the E-jar up. I'm gonna move everything over this way, and so I can start pulling the injectors on the driver's side. Okay, so I'm gonna start on this side. Next step I'm gonna do, pull this charge tube out. There's 11 down there on the clamp. We're gonna pull the whole tube out, and then just start going to town on this side. I'm gonna get the injectors out, try to get the new injectors in, then I'm gonna start on the fuel rail. The fuel rail is a pain, I believe. And the one more difficult thing on this that I believe is the crossover fuel line from the rail on the passenger side to the driver's side, because it actually goes underneath the turbocharger behind these big lines. So I'll show you that when we get there, but for now I need to get on this because it's already 4:20. So yeah. So I'm getting the charge tube loose on this side. You don't see me remove it. It's a pain in the butt to get out. I was fighting it for a while. Next, we're onto the fuel lines, get those disconnected. I tried my plastic tool, but that didn't work. I had to get the metal quick disconnect tool. Now I'm starting to remove the fuel rail and those fuel lines. This is a little tight over here, so what I do is I pull the turbo coolant line off with the 10 and the 19, pull that off so I can get a little bit more room down there. And this is where it's fun. So that thing wasn't too bad to get out. That line right there is what you're supposed to pull the turbocharger to do. There's a little 10mm right underneath it that you can get to from the top. It's actually not that bad. You see, I kind of fought with it trying to weasel it back in place, but I was able to get it back in place pretty easily. Took me a couple tries. I had to put the rail in at the same time because I had a hard time with it. The other thing though, with the CP3, you're supposed to cut a bracket off the back of the fuel line that touches the back of the pump. So that's what I did. I took it back out, cut it off, did all that. So now I'm getting the rail in, getting the line in place, trying to get everything in place because it's kind of a puzzle. If you look at that bracket, kind of where that fuel line is, that's where the 10mm goes. It's an absolute pain in the butt, but it's doable, you know. It's a lot easier than pulling the transmission to pull the turbocharger. That is just a nightmare. I'd much rather spend 30 minutes fighting that bolt than doing that stuff. But as you see, I get it. Get it in there, get it all nice and tight. Fitment wise, making sure everything's not touching. It takes a little bit of effort, but this stuff needs to be perfect because that line has high pressure fuel. So I slide that line assembly back in, get that tight, get that bolted back down. Just kind of starting my basic reassembly, putting the bracket back on that holds the fuel lines, trying to make sure everything's good, plug the fuel oil pressure sensor in on the back. I got the coolant line on the turbo put back in place. Now I'm kind of fishing the return line over. And what am I, yeah, I'm doing the, I think I'm doing the, I don't know what I'm doing over there. But there's a lot going on. I'm putting the line on actually. I'm messing with the line that I just installed on the turbocharger. Now, I will be honest, that line is, just the whole fitment of this kit was a nightmare. Trying to make everything fit properly and not touch. It took a lot of, as I like to say, massaging, because everything wanted to touch the back of that pump or rub somewhere, and that's just unacceptable. So I had to actually bend a lot of stuff out of the way so that it didn't sit, and you'll see later on the gaps between the lines and the back of the pump just to make sure it's perfect. You see right there, I get the pry bar out, start massaging stuff back and forth just to make sure it's good. They gave me that line that I just put on. It didn't fit perfect, but that's what they gave me and it works. Now I just got done flushing that line set out on the engine so I can start hooking it up to the pump. And now I'm installing the supplied fuel tube to the fuel filter housing, because this kit does come with two lines, one with the fuel filter housing stock and then one with a deleted. This one still has it all stock, no lift pump, no nothing, so put that back in. Again, everything requires a little bit of massaging, but
it went okay.
So I've been fighting with the CP3. CP3 went in really nice and pretty. My main problem is right now just the fitment of this kit. I don't know if it's me. I hope it's me, because this thing just is fitting really bad. This line I don't really care about. This one right here, they said it cannot be touching the high side of the output line. I think right here it'll be okay, but I bent the crap out of this return line. Try to mangle it and move it around to make it fit. I think it's pretty good where it's at. My real concern is this line right here. This is the actual pressure line. Obviously it comes from the rail. What it does is pump feeds the passenger rail. Passenger rail goes through, feeds this line, and feeds the driver's side rail. So this line needs to be perfect. It can't be rubbing on anything. If it does, it'll end up blowing through and then causing all kinds of havoc. You know, just a big fuel leak, or, you know, could stall, whatever. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up. I did get frustrated trying to mangle stuff around to make it fit, because I don't want, it's a lot of work to get down here, and I don't want the customer having a problem when it's done, you know, say in a few months or a year, because I didn't put something in right. So I'm taking my time trying to make sure everything's absolutely perfect. This fuel line, I'm a little disappointed the way it fits. That was supplied with the kit. I looked around. This is the nicest kit I saw. There's a few other companies that make these CP3 kits. Their kits honestly look like crap compared to the S&S. But I've had an issue with S&S stuff before, with fitment wise, because it wasn't a factory put in part. It was, you know, it was I think it was like a high performance CP3 and an LB7, I think. But disregard that. We're gonna go ahead and get this tight. This used to be a 22, now it's a 7/8, I believe. So we'll get that tight. I want to get this line in, get the fuel filter hooked up, get all the stuff flushed out, so I can at least move on with my life. Okay, so let's get this thing tight. I wish I would have made this a 22 so it would be like for like, but of course they got to make it different. Just trying to get this line. Thread in here. This thing is just, it's really kind of fighting me. I've gotten most of the stuff done. The passenger side for the most part is done. The driver's side, the rail's in, this line, this feed line in is in. If you saw my little trick, because you're supposed to pull the transmission and the turbocharger to actually change that line, because that 10 underneath. I mean, it's not fun, but it's completely doable. You know, I'd much rather fight that bolt for 20 minutes than pull this big old Allison out. That's just not fun. So this is the final result of what everything's gonna look like in the valley. We have everything down there good. This one's all installed. This stuff does kind of fit pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie, but it doesn't fit bad. It's just not perfect like I like, but it is what it is. We got our new fuel line. It's not touching like it says right here. This thing, like I showed in the video, I actually, well, this is actually, it's not touching down there. Took the hose off, bent the thing up to point it up to get it away from this. There's not really much I can do about that. It's just really tight. This one, it took me the longest to try to bend it away from the pump, and then back there I had to bend it off that bracket, that little shield. This one was okay, but this I'm not all too fond of. But I mean, there's just so much going on here. Everything as I'm going is getting flushed, all the original stuff, just to make sure this thing goes clean back together. I know there's some dirt, I still gotta clean it. Right now we're having really windy. It's very, very windy right now, so it is what it is. I need to cover this and then start doing the injectors next. This is where I'm at currently. Pretty much, I think, put the intake back in, start building it up. The last part I did show, I think, setting the injectors in, but I didn't torque them. I'm not sure what I showed last. That was on Friday. I was really, really busy. I had some stuff to take care of. But injectors are in, torqued, return lines on, lines are on, everything's nice and tight. These lines flush to the back, got the bracket back on with all the wiring nice. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and continue. The one thing that I am a little bit confused on, if you see right here in the instructions, it actually shows to put it right here. But to me, that doesn't make any sense because that's where the AC compressor mounts to. So when we put the compressor in, I'm gonna take a look at that and see. Let's see where all these lines settled on this injection pump. It's really hard to see, but there's like a C hair, if you know what I mean, behind these and the pump. Those aren't gonna touch. This actually, even this return line isn't touching. It's got another C hair. We're measuring everything in C hairs apparently. This thing is just an absolute pain to get everything nice and straight because this pump, I think, is longer than the CP4, so it butts up against this fuel line. And that's why they give you this one too, I believe, because this is a replacement in the S&S kit. And honestly, I had really good high hopes for this kit. This kit looked really nice. It still is a very nice kit. I'm just a little bit disappointed at their instructions. They're not very clear. They don't show a lot of pictures, and I'm a little special. I need pictures. So a little bit disappointed in that. I mean, it showed this right here. You don't want this to rub. I don't know if I explained this in the last part of the video. I took this line off, put my pliers on, twisted the top of the line because it was crooked. It sits kind of like that. I put it straighter so it doesn't touch that. This line's a little bit more smashed than I like, but that's the only way it's gonna fit. This is what they supplied with the kit. I even tried fitting it the other way. It still fits like crap. I mean, it's not horrible. It's not nothing I would let go. It's just not perfect. Funny to say, I feel like I'm kind of a perfectionist, but I mean, this one you kind of get what you get, it seems like. Everything's mounted over here. This side's all done. Ninth injector, everything's tight and torqued. I just have to put this stuff on, then I can start building like this bracket on here, plug all that stuff in. I lost the weather pack to the fuel, the low pressure switch, so I need to find that or replace it. I'll probably have a replacement for it. What else do we have? I think that's about it. Overall, it's not too bad. It's just unfortunately for me, the way I am here at the shop, I am always running around doing, dare I say, everything. I have to help technicians and stuff, so I'm always pulled off of stuff. In this last, 7 days, we've been extremely busy. We don't work weekends, but every day that I'm here, I get here in the morning, there's 15 new cars that I have to check. So I've been extremely busy. So I just this is my filler, but I need to get it running today. Today is Tuesday? Monday. Sorry, today's Monday. Monday the 2nd. And right now it's 3 o'clock. So I don't think it's going to be running today either, but we're definitely going to try. Because I don't want to continue this saga again tomorrow. I have other stuff I have to start doing tomorrow as well. But let's stop talking and let's get this thing done. I'm going to start by putting the intake in. I got to clean these up. I have to replace the gaskets on the intake. And then I'll go ahead and set it in, start getting that on. Once I get that on, then I can put the elbow in. I can put the EGR cooler in. And once, I mean, really there's nothing crazy. I mean, the hardest part is getting this bolt in. This is kind of a pain, but we'll deal with it. So I'm finally on the home stretch right now, getting it all cleaned up to put the intake Y bridge back in. Brand new gaskets. I even lubricated them. I usually don't, but this time I tried that to see if it makes it a little bit easier, because sometimes it's hard to squish the gaskets because
the angle that the intake is at. I use a 10 swivel socket and then a 10 deep in the back, just to make it easier for me. I use a magnet to hold the bolt, slide the bolts in. Now I'm getting the cooler in. The cooler wasn't too bad. The hardest part that I did have was that EGR valve. The main valve, which is on the driver's side, I had a really hard time lining that up. But you see how I use my swivel to get all those nice and tight on the cooler to cooler. That's what I do now instead of taking the whole thing out, because taking that EGR cooler stack out is a pain in the butt. The bolts in the back are so close to the firewall. It's a nightmare. But as you can see, I'm fighting that valve, trying to get it to line up, get the gaskets to line up, get everything nice and straight. So you have to be careful because you're working with aluminum too. You can see I'm putting the bypass pipe in. Those are the 2 bolts you got to be careful with because those are non-metallic. Getting everything buttoned up, getting some hose clamps put together. I pushed the bushings out on the alternator bracket. Be careful if you do that, you can break the alternator bracket. But those ones, they went really smooth. I'm just trying to massage all the wiring in the valley, especially where the fuel pressure regulator is now. I have a brand new belt that's going on for the customer, so it's all nice and pretty when it's done, so he doesn't hopefully have to worry about much for a while. What else? And I also did put a brand new air filter in it, clean the mass air because the mass air was dirty, just so hopefully he doesn't have any issues for a long time. Put the intake inlet in. That was kind of that one wasn't too bad actually. It went in pretty smooth. I usually put the clamp in apart and then use a pick and a socket and pull it together and then line it up and jiggle it and move it. Now I am checking the injector codes. I did not take a picture of the injector codes on the driver's side, so I kind of screwed myself. So the back 2, I had to use a mirror, and I ended up using my camera to see what the codes were, because the codes I kept entering were wrong. But all the injectors got coded, everything got reset, everything's going back together good. I did lose some footage at the end. The camera just took a crap. It said the SD, something with the SD card, but I got as much as I could. But everything went pretty smooth on the way back, going together. So I'm out currently driving the CP3 converted LML Duramax. I drove it yesterday at the end of the day. I put about 10 miles on it. Thing absolutely runs amazing. Wide open throttle. To me, it sounds like it's a little bit quieter, the engine, but I think that just might be in my head. But I think those CP4s are a little bit loud. But this thing, it sounds a little bit quieter to me. Yesterday, I actually drove it with no fender liners in it to make sure there's no leaks. Today, we'll put the fender liners back in so I can finalize it and get it all done. So, but thing sounds good. Started up perfect this morning. No codes have came back, or no codes have actually even populated. Need to give a little, but she screams, you know. So when I get back to the shop, I'll show you overall what I did, and that's it.